of the athletes that Australian Canoeing will nominate to the Australian Olympic Committee for selection to the 2012 Australian Olympic team. It's been a long campaign. This is the final round of trials. After the Oceania Championships, it was the Australian Championships, a long, hard road, and congratulations to all those involved. Thank you to our funding partners, the Australian Sports Commission, the Australian Institute of Sport, the Western Australian Institute of Sport, South Australian Sports Institute, the New South Wales Institute of Sport, and the Queensland Academy of Sport, and of course to the Australian Olympic Committee, and to the partners and sponsors of Australian Canoeing. So the formal announcement is that subject to any appeals within the next 48 hours ending at 3 p.m. on Tuesday the 20th of March, and following the confirmation of athlete quotas awarded to Australia by the International Canoe Federation, Australian Canoeing will nominate athletes to the Australian Olympic Committee for selection by the AOC to the 2012 Australian Olympic team. And we're going to call the athletes out, and they will be greeted by the Chief Executive of Australian Canoeing, Greg Doyle, and by our board member, Professor Keith Lyons, and Director of Australian Canoeing. We're going to go through the categories, and in alphabetical order. In the men's kayak category, from Perth in Western Australia, Stephen Bird. And Steve Bird earns the right to nomination through his performances in the K2 200 metres. And following Steve Bird, from Queensland, Jacob Clear. So Jacob, a 2008 Olympian, and now well on the way to London, a key member of the men's K4 1,000 metre crew, silver medalist at the last year's World Championships. Also from Western Australia in the K2 200 metres, Jesse Phillips. From Queensland and from the Illawarra, New South Wales, but I think absent today, David Smith. And like David Smith, Tate Smith, also a 2008 Olympian. Tate Smith from Queensland. Unfortunately not here, but the man of the moment from Manly, New South Wales, Murray Stewart. 4 national championships, the winner of 2 K1 1,000 metre trials, the K4 1,000 metre trials, the K1 200 and the K2 1,000 metres, so Murray Stewart. And accompanying Murray Stewart in the K2 1,000 metre, winner of 2 trials, Ken Wallace. Thank you, lane 6. Ken Wallace, of course, Olympian and double medalist and gold medalist from Beijing 2008, back in motion for London. And in the women's kayak, from Manly, New South Wales, Jo Brigden-Jones. Jo just missed out in 2008, but looking good for London, and joining her in the women's K4 crew from Adelaide, South Australia, Hannah Davis. She came from the surf. She's made of iron. From Manly in Sydney, Naomi Flood. Winner of 2 K2 500 metre trials with her partner from the Gold Coast in Queensland, Lindsay Fogarty. So Hannah Davis, 2008 Olympian and bronze medalist, also Lindsay Fogarty. So great experience in the women's K4. From the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, also a member of the K4, the winning K4 crew, Rachel Lovell. And finally, rounding out the 6-pack from the Australian sprint team, Alana Nichols. from Perth in Western Australia, unbeaten in the K1 200 and the K1 500, 2 rounds of trials, and impressive form for Alana Nichols. So congratulations to our 6 women. And of course, we have the men's canoe. Unfortunately, they're back home studying, but we welcome Jake Donaghy and Alex Haas from Queensland. Our dynamic duo in the men's C2 1000. And closer to home, from Sydney, Sebastian Marzak. So that rounds out the 16 athletes that will be nominated by Australian Canoeing, and thanks to the Australian Canoeing selection panel and the other members, Greg Kading, Martin Marinoff and Anna Wood, and to Keith Lyons, our Australian Canoeing board member, for ratifying that. So thank you very much. And joining the team in London will be the section manager, Tani Norris, appointed by the Australian Olympic Committee. So once again, congratulations to our potential Olympians. And thank you once again to all the coaches, to the institutes and academies that have made this journey possible for this group of athletes, and we wish them all the very best of luck in London, starting August the 6th and running through to the 12th of August, live on Foxtel, every race, every day, every athlete, and of course on Channel 9. So thank you. Congratulations once again. And just a word about the Australian senior sprint team. So the Olympic nominees will make up the senior canoe sprint team, and additional athletes will be considered and announced on Monday the 26th of March. But in addition to these Olympic nominees, we will have from the para canoe group Brock Ingram from Western Australia, Cara Kennedy from Queensland, and Glenn Pine from Queensland, who will compete at the ICF 2012 Para Canoe World Championships. So I'm not sure if they're still here, but congratulations to our para canoeists as well. And we look forward to seeing them in action in Poznan in May. So thank you to Keith Lyons, thank you to Greg Doyle. All good? Is that official?